also interested in the latest sort of feedback and reaction to news that President Trump says he's negotiating some sort of a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. I wonder what your thoughts are on that.
Well, I mean, that was a bit of a surprise, and there's been some significant reporting over the past 12 hours about what it might be. We don't know. I think there's a lot of anxiety here in Europe, especially with the current Secretary of Defense's remarks last week in Brussels, or excuse me, yesterday in Brussels, about expectations for Ukraine not regaining lost territory and really leading an effort, maybe with them not initially at the table, to reconcile this situation. So a lot to yet to unpack.
Now, my understanding is that this all comes at a time when Europe is going to come under increased pressure to raise their defense spending as a percentage of GDP. How much traction is Europe getting? Is this something that's going to play into the elections that are coming this year? We had a number of elections last year, and this year, of course, we're going to have elections in Germany, which is a key player in all of this. I wonder what your thoughts are on that.
Right. I think if we go back 7, 8 years ago during the Trump first administration, they were very successful and raising awareness and delivering on nations, a larger number of nations actually meeting, if not exceeding 2% was the goal then. This announcement of a possible 5% objective is really a stretch goal. The most we have, the highest right now is Poland at 4.1%. The US is at 3.8% of GDP. So for the US, for example, to get to 5% of GDP, you need plus 500 billion on top of the annual 820 billion in defense spending, a very, very lofty goal. So I think clearly nations are responding in a positive way, some, not all, to greater than 2%, most likely 3% as a first step. 5 is a big stretch goal.
There seems to be some tensions between members of the NATO alliance within European countries themselves over how much they should seek independence, how much they should develop their own industrial base, how much they should coordinate amongst themselves or with the United States. Is that tension easing at all now in recent weeks, or is that still a thing?
Yeah, I mean, it is always there. It's an ebb and flow.
Right.
I think we're going through a heightened period of debate about autonomy or, reshoring capability here in Europe. And, some growing fears over the past couple of days or weeks about the ability to rely on the United States in a crisis or not. And if they believe they can't rely on the United States, Article 5 of the NATO agreement, then they will be forced to do more domestically.
Keith, well, I wonder if you might be able to sum up for our members, what's the big takeaway at this crucial moment, and what should they be watching for over the weekend?
So I think what we need to look at over the next 2 days is the reporting that comes out of Munich here as it relates to Ukraine, the crisis in Ukraine, as it relates to America's view of its position in Europe. We're seeing more and more discussion openly by this administration that we're pivoting, if you will, or refocusing on Asia and the Pacific and our own backyard. So I think those are the two key themes to keep an eye on over the next 48 hours.